The Vauxhall VXR8 GTS and BMW M5 competition pack are not cars that are going to save our planet, but they might stop us all from dying of tedium in the process before we all go up in smoke. The VXR is based unashamedly on a Holden from Australia and now boasts a rippling 577 horsepower and 546 pounds-feet of torque. It costs just 54 grand. The M5 has been tweaked with a competition pack that sees power rise to 567 horsepower and the price jump to a dizzying £80,205. Both cars are about delivering old school fun, albeit in a new wave kind of way. But the M5, with its dual clutch gearbox and electronic everything, is clearly the more advanced of the two. But is it also the most fun to hoon about in on a damp and twisty test track that we know all too well? Time to find out.
So obviously, by far and away, the most important thing about the M5 competition pack is how sideways it will go. So let me just show you. The fact that you can do that so easily and for such a long amount of time it just shows you all you need to know about how beautifully set up the M5 is. It always was, but this competition pack one, it just feels that much crisper, that much sharper. The throttle response, I mean, you can change the throttle response electronically to your heart's content, but it just feels that much more keyed into the road. So you can just do the most crazy things with it. I mean, this is a road car, remember, not a rally car. It's just wonderful, this thing, wonderful. And love it, bless it, squeeze it, but the VXR8 won't quite do that kind of thing, and there are several reasons why. For starters, the BMW has got quite a lot more torque, right low down where it counts, which is crazy considering how much torque the Vauxhall's got. The BMW is that much better geared and closer geared to do this sort of thing. The gearbox works that much better. The steering, I think, is friendlier for doing this kind of thing in the M5. It's just, there's a lot of electronic assistance, so you can actually dial this kind of lightness into the BMW steering, which you can't do in the Vauxhall. It always feels like a bit of a lorry and a bit of a wrestling match by comparison. But I mean, doing that kind of thing in a 2-ton saloon, it's just fantastic. It's bloody marvellous, the M5 competition pack. I think it's time to go and try exactly the same thing, but in the VXR8. And I suspect it won't be just as much fun or anywhere near as easy to do as it is in the M5. Okay, so before we go anywhere in the VXR8, we need to get it in the right mode. And there are many. At the moment it's in touring mode, where there's about sort of 2 cylinders working. But listen, have a really careful listen to this. Can you hear that? Touring, sport. It's quite cool. Performance, track, and then obviously I need to turn the traction control off and the ESP off, which I have now done. Manual gearbox in the Vauxhall. Instantly it just feels kind of meatier, quite a lot more kind of Tonka toy in feel inside. Although I have to say, it feels a lot more kind of plush and expensive in here than it used to at one point. It feels like you're getting your money's worth in here. Big heavy gear change, Big meaty clutch pedal as well. You can hear the whine of the supercharger straight away. And as ever, beautifully balanced when you want to do the stupid stuff. Feels quite a lot softer than the M5 straight away. The steering feels not woolly by comparison, but just not as razor sharp. The brakes feel really good, I have to say that. The ride feels softer and more comfortable, more cosseting. Yeah, the gear change is a bit of a pain, I have to be honest. Give me a decent flappy paddle any day. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you've basically got a 6 whatever litre V8 under that bonnet with a supercharger attached to it, and yet it still doesn't feel anything like as potent as the M5. When you put your foot down, not as much happens, not as much energy feels as if it's being released. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's a lovely, friendly car to do the silly stuff on, you know, on the limit, but it just does not feel as crisp as the M5. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? You look at the price of the Vauxhall and you think, well, that is so much motor car for the money. But then when you drive it back to back with the M5 through a mad little course like this, and you can just, you know where the money's going in the M5, you really do. It's still a great, cuddly, lovely, friendly thing to drive, but it's not up there with the M5. I'm sorry, it just isn't.
So that's how they compare in the twisty bits. But what about in a straight line? To find out, we got them both rolling at 30 miles an hour in second gear, and then just nailed them up through second, third and fourth. And the result was pretty clear cut. The M5 was quickest, by miles. Conclusion. The VXR is a lovely car to drive in isolation, with a really warm, approachable kind of personality, and bags of performance to go with it. But for doing stuff like this with, the M5 is in a completely different dimension. So although it costs a fair bit more than the VXR, it's worth every penny in the end. For me, it remains the ultimate Thunder Saloon, and the VXR is still the bargain of the century.